don't see it any other way. I'm too weak to make the climb. I need a miracle this time. That's when.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio in the town of Geraldine, Alabama. We're your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications. It's always so good to be with you, Monday through Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. Central, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. You know, we're locally on television, North Alabama, channel 182 on Charter Communications. Then worldwide, we're on Abundant TV, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You can also find us on the internet, icradio.media. I have a special guest with me, special friend, been on for years. His name is AP Stedham. He's a talk show host. He got another show that's about to be coming on. I'm looking forward to that. And then also he is just a sports enthusiast. He's my go-to guy when I want to know what's going on in the sports world. Hey, AP, how are you doing?
Hey, good afternoon, Donna. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Oh, always, always. So you had a very interesting week last week.
Oh, yeah, it was fantastic, Donna. I was at the SEC Media Days beginning on Monday. I arrived in Atlanta on Saturday just to get ready. And so we went from Monday through Thursday. We had all the 14 teams, and then each coach brought 3 players except Texas A&M. They had to leave one home. He got some little bit of trouble, so he couldn't make the trip. So, but everyone else was great. I got to speak to probably, I don't know, 50 plus out of the 64. I didn't have time to count, but a few times I had to leave the room. I was on the phone for a moment here or there, but I got to talk to quite a few players and coaches as well.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I mean, you get to talk with those folks and just kind of get a bird's eye view of what's going to happen for the upcoming season.
Yeah, Donna, everybody is in that room, the electronic media room, with hope, and they should have hope. Some more than others, though, right? Some more than others, but everybody's enthusiastic and looking forward to the season and to try to have a normal year, the best we can without the pandemic. So, but you meet some of the quarterbacks, you meet some of the running backs, the defensive line, the wide receivers, the offensive line, the tight ends, the defensive backs and linebackers. So we met an assortment of players from each school. And some, like I say, some of them brought their quarterback. Some, they're deciding the quarterback position, so they couldn't bring just one.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, COVID is kind of making an outbreak again. And I know up here in North Alabama, so I'm pretty sure the coaches are factoring that in just in case.
Yes, they're prepared. They have a plan. So, but I think we're going to have a fairly smooth college football season. That's what I predict, hopefully. But, you know, we spoke to the Tennessee coach, Josh Heupel. He's trying to get his team better defensively. They need to attack the quarterback more, to pressure the quarterback, to give their defense more of a chance to get the offense off the field. But they have a very good quarterback in Hendon Hooker. He was there. He's well-spoken. And I like him. I like his leadership and his personality. And then Cedric Tillman, big receiver. He's talented. And they're bringing on a new receiver transfer from USC down at University of Southern California, Rue McCoy. So they should have tremendous offensive weapons at the wide receiver position for Tennessee. And the quarterback, he's one of the better ones in the league, Hendon Hooker. And so I guess defensively, they've got to improve. But yeah, Josh Heupel, I think he's on the right path to have his team improve. And, you know, that Eastern Division is really Georgia and everyone else. So if you can be consistent in beating the teams that you should, maybe upset a couple, and you know, who knows what happens when you play Georgia. You have a hot passing day, your quarterback, the receivers are on fire. There's good matchups with your receivers against their secondary. You could upset Georgia. That could happen.
It's possible. Do you think Tennessee will be in the top 10 this year?
I think top 10 maybe is a little bit too optimistic, but I'm thinking the top 25.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to look at their schedule real quick and to see where they play that Georgia game. That is in Athens, so that would be a tough task. It's down the road, actually, in November 5th. So maybe they can get themselves together, smooth out all the rough edges, and then have a chance. But their non-conference schedule, Donna, that second game is at Pittsburgh. That's going to be tough because Pittsburgh is the defending ACC champion, and they have, I think, 15 starters returning. Now they're going to have a new quarterback, but he transferred from USC. So it's funny because the quarterback from USC knows the wide receiver from Tennessee because they played together at the University of Southern California. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Keaton Slovis is the quarterback that transferred. So that's a difficult game on the road, but they have 1 week to get ready. They're playing Ball State first, so they should win that game. But they have to go on the road to Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh beat them last year, beat Tennessee. So that's a crucial game for the Volunteers.
Who do you think let's talk about the underdog. Who do you think is the underdog this year? And who could be awesome?
Yeah, all the underdogs are either going to be, it won't be Alabama or Georgia. They're the favorites. They're the heavy favorites to win the Western Division and the Eastern Division. So everyone else really is an underdog, believe it or not, Don, because Alabama is projected to be number 1 and Georgia's in the top 5, 2 or 3, 4, 5, whichever poll you review. So all these other teams, Don, they are underdogs, every team in the league, except Georgia and Alabama. I think that Kentucky is looking to have an excellent season because they were 10-3 last year. They had a couple of slip-ups. Tennessee beat them at Mississippi State, and then Georgia beat them down in Athens. But their schedule is favorable, but they have to play Georgia the last conference home game in Lexington. So if they can move through their schedule, they have to go to Gainesville. They're at Oxford, Mississippi, and they're going to Knoxville and Columbia, Missouri. So those are some difficult road games, but I think they have the quarterback to lead them to those victories on the road. So I'm looking for Kentucky to do some big things this year.
Let's talk Alabama and Auburn. Let's start with Alabama. Did you see anything last week that made you think, well, they may not be number 1 after all? We have a close second.
Yeah, I think we discussed this before, but I think that offensive line is on Nick Saban's mind, because he realizes that's a crucial unit on your team because you're keeping the other team's offense off the field if you can have long drives and you can, let's say you can dominate with the running game so the clock is ticking. And so you're preserving your defense and the other team's offense is on the sideline. So, no, but Alabama is in good stead with all the other units, the wide receivers. Of course, they have the returning Heisman Trophy quarterback, Bryce Young. He was there. He was cool at the podium as always. And Alabama has plenty of defensive backs, which is in this era, Donna, you need a lot because you're running them in and out of the lineup because the other team is throwing so many receivers at you. You'll get winded if you don't have some depth, and it'll show up in the fourth quarter. You might stop them in the first, second, and third, but after a while, your legs get tired. So, and excellent defensive and edge rushers that Will Anderson Jr. and Dallas Turner. They're the 2 best in the country. I don't see anybody being better than them rushing the quarterback. So that's a total advantage for Alabama on the defensive side. And then their defensive linemen, they're veterans, they're big, and I think you're gonna see more plays made by them this season. And Alabama's got good inside linebackers, kicking game, running backs. Jamar Gibbs, the transfer from Georgia Tech, Donna, they have him as a preseason first-team All-SEC selection. That's pretty unique because he played in the ACC for Georgia Tech. He's coming to Alabama, projected as a starter and projected as an all-conference player. So Nick Saban, he sang his praises quite a bit last week on Tuesday. He's a versatile running back, fast, can take it the distance, 80 yards, 90 yards, 50 yards. He's explosive, and he catches the ball out of the backfield. Very easy, good hand. So that's going to put a lot of pressure on the team's defense. So I think Alabama, Donna, just that one area and that they could be fine. They could be fine at the offensive line. I'm just not certain. They need to come up with a couple more players, play left tackle and right tackle, and even the center position as well. So I was with actually, Donna, on Saturday. Emil Ekiyor Jr. He's the guard for Alabama, right guard. He had an event, Donna, with Samaritan's Feet, and he gave 300 pair of shoes away to children at the A.G. Gaston Boys and Girls Club in Birmingham, Alabama. So I had a chance to visit with Emil and his mother and his father. Yeah, his father played football in Central Florida. Then he played in the NFL as well. His father's bigger than Emil. He's a little bit taller, big gentlemen. They're Nigerian, I think Emil was probably born in Indianapolis, but he played at, I think it was Indianapolis Central High School. But he's bright, he's smart, and he had that charity event on Saturday. So I got to speak to him a little bit about the offensive line. He feels confident, and he should, because he's around his teammates. He knows the capability. Now, Auburn, we had a chance to speak to Brian Harsin, and he feels that, Donna, they had there was a lot of roster movement last year. And those who were disgruntled, he feels that all those people left and they're gone. So now he has more harmony. Mm-hmm. And the players discussed the fact that, their head coach, Brian Harsin, he works out with them. So if you're running sprints and you're lifting weights or doing different drills, you cannot complain, because he's got
leading by example.
Right, leading by example, right? He's out there with them doing quite a few of the drills and the preseason. So yeah, Brian, he's in good shape. So Tank Bixby was there, the star running back for Auburn. I think he's on the preseason All-SEC list as well. And Derek Hall, the defensive end, he's going to be key for them rushing the passer. He had 9 sacks last year. And then you had John Samuel Shanker, who had a record-setting year as a tight end at Auburn. And Donna, they have 2 or 3, 4 tight ends at Auburn, so that's a strong position for them. Mm-hmm. I look for the quarterback to be throwing quite a few passes to John Samuel Shanker and the rest of his compadres at the tight end position.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Let me ask you this. Any event, there's always going to be that one person who just lights up the room when they walk in. Is there any, and it doesn't matter where they're from, is there any one person that you saw during this whole session last week that just lit the room up?
Yeah, Donna, it's funny you mentioned that. I was, I'm trying to get the right day. I think it was Wednesday. I'm just trying to look this up. On Wednesday, Kentucky was there.
Uh-huh.
And they had 3 players, Kenneth Horsey and Will Levis, the quarterback, and DeAndre Square. They were great speakers at the podium. All 3 of them were sensational. And one of the players, he had a serious health issue. He came back, and to hear him discuss how he overcame that, it was really moving. It sure was. And so Mark Stoops, when he came to the podium, he said, "I hope everyone enjoyed our 3 players." So I had the first question. I said, "Coach, we enjoyed all 3 of them. They were sensational." Yeah. So that trio of Kentucky players, they stood out to me, and there were many other good ones as well. But as a group, University of Kentucky, they were fabulous at the podium.
It seems like there's a lot of team playing going in there on there too, for 3, because you got to face it. A lot of times one person wants to be the star and they forget about everybody else and else bring them there. But it sounds like there's unity there big time.
Oh yeah, the players, they're complimentary of each other, and there's that camaraderie and collegial atmosphere with all the players. Yeah, they're pulling for their teammates, and they speak of them as brothers. That's the lingo that is used in the interview.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That could put them in the top 10 real quick.
It helps if you're all. It helps if you like each other. I mean, you still have to have the talent, Donna, but certain things can happen if you like each other. I think subconsciously you play a little harder for somebody that you like. I mean, I'm not saying that you don't, if you don't like the person because you're on film, it's in your best interest to play well. I mean, you can't say, "I don't like the quarterback, I'm not going to block for him," because you won't be on the field very long. The coach is going to watch the film and say, "So-and-so, we better take him out. He's not making his blocks." I don't care what the reason is. We better substitute. So, but I think it helps if they like each other. But I've seen teams win that they didn't like each other, Donna, but they were selfishly talented. So they were trying, very hard to win and perform on the field. So, but it's nice if they enjoy each other's company.
Well, we have a little saying here in North Alabama: "Don't let it cut off your nose to spite your face."
Exactly. Yeah, it's in your best interest even if you don't care for that person, to perform well, because you're always being watched and judged and critiqued and analyzed. So you better do your best. Be your best.
Absolutely. Let's talk Clemson. I don't know. I've been a little disappointed in them the past couple of years. Do you see them blossoming back?
Well, that's a quarterback issue, Donna, for that team, I believe, because there's talent on the team. Last year, a lot of injuries. I mean, an abundance of injuries. I don't even know that it was double digits. So, and the quarterback did not play well, even though they had the reserves were talented, but the quarterback. So there's some competition there. Now, Clemson, I forgot their first game. I think it's a pretty tough game. I forgot it was offhand, but we're going to find out early about Clemson and how they recover and rebound from a less than stellar season by their standards that they've set in this Dabo Swinney era. So yeah, Clemson, it's all about the quarterback, Donna, because you cannot rise to the championship level without very good quarterback play. You can't have an average quarterback, or if you have an average quarterback, Donna, he better make some plays at critical moments. Like I'll give you an example. Stetson Bennett the fourth. I mean, he's not the most talented quarterback physically, but he wins ball games and he makes some plays at the crucial times, which he did in the championship game against Alabama, actually. Mm-hmm. So it can happen, but you need a set of circumstances for those moments to occur.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, we watch those things. But do you think it's a coaching issue? I mean, it just feels like maybe it's women's intuition. I don't know. It just feels like Clemson, there's something wrong. Can't put a finger on it. What is it?
Well, they recruited that quarterback from California, highly rated, and he had some NIL dealings. So people believed in him from the outset, and he was replacing Trevor Lawrence, who was tremendous, and he just didn't play up to the standard. And he didn't have to be Trevor Lawrence, but he didn't play up to his own standards. So I think that was a disappointment. He competed better as the season progressed, but it was too late. When you lost those games early, nothing you can do about those losses. Mm-hmm. So, but Clemson, talented team. They're one of the teams that could play in the SEC, no problem. They have the speed, they have the size, they have the power. They recruit across America. So they can be an SEC team, and they're probably, I would say they're the prohibitive favorite in the ACC. I would say Miami's looking to change things with Mario Cristobal, return to his alma mater from the Miami area. So, but I think Clemson is still the strong favorite, but they can be beaten. I think they can be beaten.
Let's talk Florida State a little bit. What's going on with them?
Yeah, Florida State. Their first game, Donna. I should be at that game. It's going to be played on a Sunday, Labor Day weekend against LSU. LSU's got a brand new coach. Florida State, their coach I think he's been there 1 year now. So the Seminole fans, there's some optimism, and that they're might have a better season because Florida State. I mean, Don, when you're in the state of Florida, if you can't field a good football team, you do not have the right leader.
Sure.
Because there are plenty. I mean, Miami will get players. Florida State, Central Florida, South Florida. There is so many Division I FBS level talent. Other schools are in there. I mean, Auburn's recruiting there, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan. Everybody's looking for players in Florida. So if you're there, you have to select the right ones. But Florida State, they've been down quite a while now. So they're going to try to make some incremental steps. I don't think you see them at a championship level this year, but they're going to try to get better than they were in the past couple of years.
Mississippi and Mississippi State.
Yeah, Mississippi, there's a quarterback battle there, Donna. They're bringing in a transfer from USC as well. Jack Darter's last name is Darter, and then they have John Altemeyer as a quarterback. So they'll be battling. Now, Mississippi, they'll score points because Lane Kiffin, tremendous offensive coordinator. Very good, very good. It's on the defensive side where you're looking for that manpower and try to get have some improvement because they're going to score plenty of points. They just need to stop the other team a few times to increase their chances. But they'll have some tight ball games, Donna. At Ole Miss, they'll be high scoring and it'll be close. Mississippi State returns, I think it's 17 starters, Donna, and their quarterback returns, Will Rogers. So Mike Leach and that air raid offense, they can play a little bit better on the defensive side. And offensively, he's usually pretty good. I mean, had the big comeback against Auburn last year. I think they were down 28-3, and they won on the road at Auburn. I believe that game. That's the way that worked out. So Mississippi State, they're kind of a team that I wouldn't take them lightly because you have a lot of people experienced in the SEC. They don't have the fear of playing on the road or when a big, highly ranked opponent comes to town. So I'd be careful of that team. And you have somebody who likes to throw the football, Donna. And when you throw the football down, a defensive back falls down. Somebody can run for a long touchdown, or there's a missed assignment. So, yeah, Mississippi State is an interesting team to watch.
Mm-hmm. Never know what's coming out of it. Let's talk about some of the other colleges. I'm all over Texas.
Yeah.
Phil lived in Texas for a long time.
Right. Yeah. Texas, Donna. You have an offensive coordinator who was at Alabama, Steve Sarkisian, became the new coach, paid a lot of money. He's having a good recruiting run right now. He's got 3 players that transferred from Alabama, 1 the year before, 2 this year. Talented players, Hall, the wide receiver, and Billingsley, the tight end. And they have two running backs down, and one is Bijan Robertson, and he's a Heisman Trophy candidate. And then Keelan Robinson transferred from Alabama from the Washington, D.C. area. So Texas has some offensive players that are explosive, can be explosive, and score touchdowns, but their lack of toughness is an area that they must get better because you can push them around, and that shouldn't happen near the University of Texas. The mighty, powerful long guards, you shouldn't be able to push them around. So they've got to come along on the defensive side and just especially at the point of attack, the line of scrimmage.
Let's talk Heisman Trophy just for a few minutes. Usually this is pretty much well figured out early in the season, but is there someone you think could be overlooked that could be a perfect candidate?
I'm just some of the people that I'm looking at. This is not everybody down. Of course, I have to review the teams, but you have the running back from Texas, Bijan Robinson. You have C.J. Stroud, the quarterback at Ohio State. You have the returning Heisman Trophy winner, Bryce Young. You have Caleb Williams is the transfer quarterback, went from Oklahoma to USC, and he's got the Biletnikoff Award winner who transferred from Pittsburgh as a wide receiver. That might be, it could turn out to be the best passing combination, those two. And if that happens, then Caleb's going to have some big numbers, and he'll get a lot of attention because USC has won, I think they've won 6 or 7 Heismans in their history. So he'll get many, many votes. And plus, if you're on the West Coast on it and you're dominating that region, more than likely you're going to get all the votes in that region.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk coaches for a few minutes. I know there's some new ones out there, and we always say, everybody knows about Coach Saban. He's pretty much out there. But let's talk about some of the up and coming coaches.
Well, I would say before we have that discussion, I would say the 2 coaches that people are watching this season, Donna, Lincoln Riley moved from Oklahoma to USC. He's a very good offensive coach, and he's getting talent. He brought along his quarterback, Caleb Williams, as we said. But watch out for the USC Trojans. That might be my dark horse team nationally. USC. I think USC, University of Southern California. And then Brian Kelly has been at Notre Dame, I think it was over 10 years, won a lot of games, set the record, I believe. So he moved on to LSU. Now, we know LSU has talent, no question. There's talent in that state. They are able to lure people from around the country, like all the top teams, Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, USC. So watch Brian Kelly and the Tigers and see what they can do and see if they can have a 1-year turnaround. They're still kind of searching for that quarterback. Brian Kelly, he said he really would like Miles Brennan to start. I think this is his 6th year. So he really like him to start if he can win the position. But they have a transfer from Arizona State as well.
You think anybody's missing Coach O? I miss Coach O.
Oh, well, he was the perfect person for LSU. But he didn't hire the right coordinators after the championship coordinators left. So he kind of lost control and didn't manage that very well. Consequently, they lost games, and he's in Destin, Florida, just counting his money there. He had a big settlement, big buyout. But I would say in the SEC, when you look at up and coming coaches, Billy Napier, University of Florida, he was at Louisiana, and they upset some Power 5 teams along the way. So Billy, good recruiter, was on Coach Saban's staff, and I would say he's someone that people are going to keep their eye on. Not only him, but that program in Florida, because as I said, you can't have a good football team in Florida. You do not have the right leader. So we're going to find out if Billy Napier was the right hire. So we keep an eye on Billy.
Time will tell.
Billy Napier.
Absolutely. About a little bit less than 3 minutes left in the segment. So what are you going to be doing this coming week?
Yeah, we're going to be getting ready for the radio show, Donna. We're going to launch that next week. We'll talk about it on Monday, of course, but looking forward to that and just kind of reading up more on the teams. You know, I took a lot of notes last week, and we were busy every day, and they actually had events for us at nighttime. So I didn't get a chance to study everything like I want. So in these coming weeks, we're going to review all the information and try to make an assessment of the different teams. And we're just going to try to stay here in LA, Lower Alabama.
There you go. I'm so excited for you. I think it's going to be a great thing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And so
you're very trusted.
Well, thank you, Donna. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. But yeah, no, it's exciting. I can't ever imagine saying that a college football season was not going to be exciting to me, Donna. I just been watching it so long, and see all these players emerge and the coaches. You find out who's the good coach and who had the issues, and then there's that hot seat that happens through the season. Some the teams that are supposed to win, maybe somebody's losing, maybe somebody's supposed to be losing and they're winning. So it's that unscripted drama that has drawn me to the game of college football, and I just like the game of football. I like to watch it. I like to analyze it. I like to preview the games, and I like to understand the personalities and their stories. And I like to see what one coach does with his quarterback, because that's the essential position that everybody's trying to make sure that person is playing well, because it's a function of the one-loss record.
That's true. There's always drama.
Why
watch soap operas when you can watch football?
Oh yes, absolutely. And then during the season, the coaches, maybe they get into a little tiff. There's some verbal jousting. Yeah, verbal volleys are thrown, and there's rule changes they're complaining, or there's some rules they like, and so there's always something to discuss.
Real quick, less than 30 seconds. Which coach has the biggest temper?
Biggest temper? Well, I think we've seen it in the past, but he's kind of tempered it to some degree. Is Nick Saban?
I knew you were going to say Saban.
He got quite a temper. The other coaches, yeah, I'm just thinking of it. I'm thinking.
Well, we're going to get plenty of that preview.
Yeah,
hey, we're going to have to call it a day. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
I said, God, you gotta move this mountain. I just don't see it any other